everybody, and welcome to another ASMR video here on the channel. In tonight's video, I have a follow-up facts video. A little while ago, I did one history fact or event for every year from the year 1900 to 2025, and you guys really seemed to enjoy it, and I said if you guys enjoyed it we could keep repeating this format. So tonight we're going to be delving further back, as you can tell by the title, but we've skipped 1800 to 1900, not for any particular reason other than the fact I forgot that we hadn't done that. So tonight we're going to be looking at one history fact or event for every year from 1700 to 1800. But if you guys enjoy this one, we'll jump forward again and we'll do 1800 to 1900. So that's my mistake, but hopefully, irrespective of that, you enjoy this video. So sit back, relax, and hopefully learn something new as well. So let's get into it. 1700. The Prussian Academy of Sciences is founded under Gottfried Leibniz as its first president, marking a key moment in the rise of Enlightenment institutional science in Europe. English agricultural innovator Jethro Tull invents the seed drill in 1701, revolutionizing seed planting and boosting crop yields. 1702, Anne becomes Queen of England. Later under her reign, the Kingdom of Great Britain is formed in 1707. In 1703, Peter the Great begins building St. Petersburg, symbolizing Russia's westward modernization project. A decisive naval victory at Vigo Bay aids English-Dutch fleets against France during the War of Spanish Succession. This was in 1704. In 1705, Polish musician and composer Leopold Mozart, father of Wolfgang, is born on November 14th. In 1706, Benjamin Franklin is born in Boston on January 17th. The Acts of Union in 1707 unite the kingdoms of England and Scotland into the Kingdom of Great Britain, a milestone in British political history. 1708, Great Northern War intensifies. Sweden faces a coalition including Russia and Denmark-Norway, reshaping power in Northern Europe. In 1709, Bartolomeo Cristofori crafts the first piano. Daniel Gabriel Fahrenheit also invents the alcohol thermometer that same year. In 1710, the long rifle is developed in North America, improving firearms accuracy and marking advances in hunting and colonial warfare. John Shaw invents the tuning fork in England in 1711. In 1712, Thomas Newcomen patents the first practical atmospheric steam engine for pumping water out of mines, early spark to the Industrial Revolution. The Treaty of Utrecht in 1713 concludes the War of the Spanish Succession, redistributing European colonial and territorial power. 1714, George I ascends to the British throne as the first Hanoverian king, inaugurating a new dynastic chapter in British history. 1715 brought the death of Louis XVI, maybe. Louis XVI of France. Or 14th. I'm so bad with my Roman numerals. Well, forget about that one. In 1716, Catherine the Great is born in Stettin, later Empress of Russia, famous for expansion and reforms. 1717 brought Edmund Halley inventing the diving bell off the coast of North Carolina, ending one of the most notorious buccaneer careers. In 1719, Daniel Defoe publishes Robinson Crusoe, one of the earliest novels in English literature, focusing on themes of survival and colonialism. 1720, the South Sea Bubble financial crash reveals speculative economic fragility in Britain. In 1721, Montesquieu anonymously publishes Persian letters in the Dutch Republic, critiquing French society and absolutism via Enlightenment satire. In 1722, French inventor C. Hopfer patents the fire extinguisher, an early innovation in safety engineering. In 1723, the last major bubonic plague outbreak in Western Europe, part of the longer Second Plague pandemic. 1724, Gabriel Fahrenheit invents the first mercury thermometer and temperature scale, standardizing scientific temperature measurement. 1725 now, Catherine I becomes Empress of Russia, sustaining Peter the Great's reforms and power structure after his death. 1726, Jonathan Swift's Gulliver's Travels is published, a satire on human nature and society. 1727, George II becomes King of Great Britain, following George I's death, continuing the Hanoverian succession. 1728, Carl Friedrich Gauss is born in Germany, later one of the greatest mathematicians ever. 1729, Robert Clive arrives in India, eventually leading to British ascendancy in Bengal. 1730, the octant is independently developed by Thomas Godfrey and John Hadley, key to marine navigation. Composer Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart is born in Austria on January 27, 1731, destined to become a musical genius. In 1732, Georgia is founded as the 13th British colony. Also, US founding father George Washington is born on February 22nd. 1733, John Kay invents the flying shuttle loom, enabling faster weaving and surging productivity in textiles. 1734, Immanuel Kant is born in Prussia, later founding critical philosophy and shaping modern thought. The only reason I know that name Immanuel Kant is from The Good Place. 1735, the reign of Qianlong begins in Qing, China, marking peak territorial expansion and cultural development. In 1736, John Harrison works towards perfecting the marine chronometer, essential for longitudinal navigation at sea. An earthquake and fires devastate Calcutta, prompting changes in urban planning in British India. That was in 1737. 1738, Lewis Ball and John Wyatt invent the mechanised cotton spinning machine, an early step toward textile mechanisation. 1739, the War of Jenkins's Ear begins between Britain and Spain in the Americas. 1740, Caroline and Frederick fund ascension of Frederick II in Prussia, beginning major European military leadership. 1741, Handel composes Oratorio Messiah, later premiering in 1742, becoming a landmark in choral music. In 1742, Benjamin Franklin invents the Franklin stove. Thomas Jefferson is born on April 13, 1743, in Virginia, future US President and key founding father. 1744, Mayor Amschel Rothschild is born, later founding the Rothschild banking dynasty and reshaping international finance. 1745, E.G. von Kleist and Peter Muschenbroek independently invent the Leyden jar, which is an early electrical capacitor. 1746, Charles Edward Stuart is defeated at Culloden, ending the Jacobite uprising in Scotland. 1747, end of War of Austrian Succession approaches, Europe moving toward peace settlements. In 1748, Montesquieu publishes The Spirit of Laws, profoundly influencing political thought and democratic theory. Several milestones. Handel's music for the Royal Fireworks premieres. Henry Fielding helps create Bar Street Runners, which was an early police force, and the first recorded game of baseball is played by the Prince of Wales in London. 1750, at the halfway point now, Johann Sebastian Bach completes the Art of Fugue, one of his final and most complex compositions. 1751, Denis Diderot begins publishing the Encyclopédie, a key enlightenment project spreading rational thought and secular knowledge. 1752, Britain adopts the Gregorian calendar, skipping 11 days, September 12th to September 14th, to align with much of Europe. 1753, the British Museum is founded in London, becoming one of the world's first public national museums. The French and Indian War begins in North America in 1754, part of the global 7 Years' War. In 1755, a devastating earthquake strikes Lisbon, Portugal, killing tens of thousands and sparking philosophical debates on divine justice. 1756, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart is born on January 27th in in Salzburg, Austria. 1757 brought the Battle of Plassey. The British East India Company under Robert Clive defeats the Nawab of Bengal, cementing British power in India. In 1758, the concept of extinction is first suggested by George Buffon in natural history writings. 1759, Voltaire publishes Candide, a sharp satire of philosophical optimism and organised religion. George III becomes King of Great Britain, beginning a long reign that includes the American Revolution. In 1761, James Watt improves the steam engine by designing a separate condenser, key to the Industrial Revolution. 1762, Catherine the Great comes to power in Russia after a coup against her husband, Peter III. 1763, the Treaty of Paris ends the 7 Years' War. France cedes much of its North American territory to Britain. 1764, James Hargreaves invents the spinning jenny, revolutionising textile production. In 1765, the Stamp Act is passed by the British Parliament, sparking colonial resistance in America. The first recorded patent for a fire escape is issued in England in 1766. In 1767, the Townshend Acts are imposed by Britain on American colonies, escalating tensions over taxation. 1768, Captain James Cook departs on his first Pacific voyage aboard the HMS Endeavour. In 69, Nicholas Joseph Cugnot builds the first self-propelled road vehicle, steam-powered, an ancestor to the automobile. The Boston Massacre occurs in 1770. Tensions between colonists and British troops escalate. Richard Arkwright builds his first water-powered cotton mill in 1771, a key industrial revolution innovation. 72 brings the first partition of Poland occurring, dividing Polish territory between Russia, Prussia and Austria. The Boston Tea Party was in 1773. American colonists protest British taxation by dumping tea into Boston Harbour. Oh dear, more Roman numerals. Louis the 16th becomes King of France. Also, the First Continental Congress meets in Philadelphia. 75, American Revolutionary War begins with battles at Lexington and Concord. 1776, very famous year obviously. The United States Declaration of Independence is adopted on July 4th. 1777, Battle of Saratoga, a turning point in the American Revolution with a major American victory. 78, France formally allies with the American revolutionaries against Britain. In 79, Captain James Cook is killed in Hawaii during his third Pacific voyage. In 1780, the Gordon riots erupt in London over anti-Catholic sentiment. In 1781, the British surrender at Yorktown, effectively ending the American Revolutionary War. In 1782, the bald eagle is chosen as the national emblem of the United States. And 1783, the Treaty of Paris officially ends the American Revolutionary War. In 1784, the first successful manned balloon flight in England is carried out by Italian Vincenzo Lunardi. The University of Georgia becomes the first state-chartered public university in the US in 1785. In 1786, Mozart's opera, The Marriage of Figaro, premieres in Vienna. 1787, the US Constitution is drafted at the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia. Australia is colonized with the arrival of the First Fleet at Botany Bay in 1788. 1789, the French Revolution begins with the storming of the Bastille on July 14th. The US conducts its first national census in 1790. Into the final 10 facts/events now. In 1791, the Haitian Revolution begins, the most successful slave revolt in history. 1792, the guillotine is first used in France as the revolution turns radical. 1793, King Louis XVI and Queen Marie Antoinette are executed, and the Reign of Terror begins. In 1794, Eli Whitney invents the cotton gin, transforming cotton production in the American South. 1795, the final partition of Poland erases it from the map until 1918. Edward Jenner tests the first smallpox vaccine in 1796, laying the foundation of immunology. 1797, Mary Wollstonecraft's Letters Written in Sweden, Norway and Denmark is published, a major feminist travelogue. 1798, Napoleon invades Egypt. The Rosetta Stone is discovered, enabling modern understanding of Egyptian hieroglyphs. 1799, George Washington dies on December 14th at Mount Vernon, and Napoleon seizes power in France in the coup of 18 Brumaire. And finally, in 1800, the US federal government moves to Washington, D.C., making it the new capital. And that is it. That was one history event from 1700 to 1800. Once again, apologies for the mix-up and skipping 1800 onwards, but there are no rules. We can always go back, so leave a like on this video if you enjoyed, and let me know down below if you want to see this kind of mini-series as such continue, because I'd be more than happy to. But that is going to do it for tonight's video. I really hope you did enjoy it. If you did, and you are able to and not too sleepy, then please do give this video a like and subscribe if you're new. And until